So this comment came because I had made a video about the interview Melissa Blair had done on the We Need to Talk podcast. And so this particular lady, she asked a question in which she asked what was the difference between denouncing and renouncing. And so I asked her, have she prayed to God about denouncing and renouncing? And then I also asked her if she felt led to denounce, and her response was, I don't. So I wanted to explain why I am replying to this particular comment. Now, this is not even in regards to her. This is just in regards to the body as a whole when it comes to Greek life. And I wanted to get on here and say this because sometimes we feel like if God hasn't directly given us the nudging to denounce and renounce, that is because He's okay with us staying in these organizations. And again, these are not her thoughts. I am just saying this to the body as a whole and as it pertains to Greek life. Just because God did not give you the word per se doesn't mean that He's okay with you staying in these organizations. Sometimes we can harden our hearts towards the things of God because we have already made up our mind that we are not going to do something. And so sometimes God will continue to put things in your face to kind of soften your heart so that what He needs to speak to you, He can get it to you. I said all of that to say this. I pledged Delta Sigma Theta in spring 2009. And back then, even though I considered myself a churchgoer, and back then, even though I considered myself to be a believer in Jesus Christ, and I knew that Jesus died on the cross for my sins and rose again on the third day, even though I believed all that, I was still very lukewarm, doing what I wanted to do, all the things. So shortly after I pledged, I started hearing about denouncing and renouncing, and I didn't know what it was. So I asked a big sister, and she said that it wasn't that deep, and that was the only explanation that she had given to me. Now, after that, I never sought the Lord again about renouncing and denouncing. I just never did. However, in 2020, God gave me Psalms 115. I didn't seek Him. I didn't pray to Him. I didn't do any of that. But He gave me Psalms 115. And I read it, and I was just like, okay, put it in my back pocket. And then when all of that stuff started coming out, I believe in 2022, when all of that stuff started coming out from Prophetess Tiffany Montgomery and I can't think of his last name. I know his last name is Ewing. Kevin Ewing. I think it's Kevin. When all of that stuff started coming out about people that were in sororities and fraternities and secret societies being condemned in hell, that's when the Lord kept reminding me of Psalms 115, and I struggled with it for a very long time. And so I'm just like, Lord, it's not an idol. Like, it's not an idol. Like, I knew about Minerva. I knew that I didn't pray to Minerva, but I knew about her. But I kept saying, Lord, it's not an idol. It's not an idol. I will say this. God will get your attention in some form or fashion. He will get your attention, especially if He wants you to be in His will. He's going to do whatever it takes to get your attention. And so I just wanted to just put that out there, because sometimes if our minds are already made up that we are not going to do a thing, then God has to be a little bit more strategic in how He gets our attention. And so that may be Okay, I'm gonna keep putting these videos in your face. Oh, you think that just because the sorority or the fraternity is not as vocal, for example, a person is an AKA, but all the videos that they have been seeing come across their timeline is people denouncing or renouncing from Delta Sigma Theta or Zeta or SG Rho. And they were like, oh, well, that's them, that's not anybody from my sorority. And so it's like, okay, well, say less. Now I'm gonna start putting people that have renounced and denounced from AKA. Now I'm gonna start putting that in your face, since these other videos couldn't get your attention. And so God is very intentional about how he does things. And like I said, for me, he gave me Psalms 115 way before all of this stuff started to come out in 2022. And so in 2020, that's when the Lord began to work on me in regards to the sorority, in regards to me denouncing and renouncing, unbeknownst to me, because I didn't even know why he was giving me Psalms 115, And so I just want everybody to just be sure. Like I always tell anybody that I come across, anybody who I cross paths with or that are in these organizations, I always tell them, hey, seek God. Seek God from a pure place. Don't have your mind made up. Like, don't go into prayer or fasting thinking that the sorority or the fraternity is not demonic. Don't go into prayer and fasting thinking that it's not that deep. Like, forget all of that. Forget all of that. Forget your feelings. Forget your emotions in regards to your sorority or fraternity, and really seek God from a pure place. Really fast on if this is something that you should continue being a part of, or if this is something that you should renounce and denounce. Again, don't go into prayer and fasting with your mind already made up. Forget all of your thoughts about everything and just seek God for yourself. Okay? Till next time. Bye, y'all.